I'm going on a date with a coworker. The words hung there, delivered by my wife with a terrifying calmness after 18 years of marriage. I looked her dead in the eye and warned her. If you walk out that door, everything we have built is going to change forever. She didn't hesitate. She just ignored me and left. What followed next wasn't just heartbreak. It shattered her entire life in ways she honestly never imagined. My name is Ryan Mishi. I'm 46, and for the last 2 decades, my focus has been on building something substantial. A thriving automotive parts wholesale business right here in Phoenix, Arizona, a stunning house in Scottsdale, and what I truly believed was an unbreakable marriage. Jessica and I met back when we were kids in our 20s. I was just hustling to get my business started, and she was wrapping up her marketing degree. We truly built our life together brick by painstaking brick. Our 2 amazing children, Brandon, who's now 16, and Emma, our 11-year-old, completed what I thought was the absolute perfect picture. But, as I learned the hard way, perfection is always just an illusion, isn't it? The whole afternoon, everything began to fall apart. Started like any other mundane Tuesday. I got home from the warehouse around 6, pulled my tie loose, and found Jessica standing in the kitchen. She wasn't preparing dinner, though. She was just by the counter, nursing a glass of wine, staring out the window with that hollow, distant expression that had become unsettlingly common lately. "Hey," I said, leaning in for a kiss on the cheek. She barely even turned. "We need to talk," she said, her voice completely flat and dry. Those 3 little words never, ever signal anything good. I slowly pulled out a chair from the kitchen table, already feeling this horrible knot tightening in my stomach. Jessica sat across from me, swirling her wine, looking like she was desperately seeking courage at the bottom of the glass. "I have just been feeling so stifled," she began without making eye contact, implying I was living on some sort of autopilot. "Ryan, I need something that's just for me, something that feels genuinely exciting again." I leaned forward, trying to be the supportive husband. "Okay, what are you saying? Do you want to join a class? Take a trip?" She finally looked up, and what I saw in her eyes made the blood run absolutely cold in my veins. "I'm going on a date," she stated simply, "with someone from work." The words didn't just hurt. They hit me like a physical, jarring blow. I just sat there, completely stunned, waiting for the punchline that never, ever came. "A date," I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. "You are my wife, Jessica. We have a family. What in the world are you actually talking about?" She set her glass on the table with deliberate, almost insulting calm. "This is not about you, Ryan. I just need to feel alive again. I will make it up to you later. I promise." "Make it up to me?" I remember saying, the ridiculousness of it hitting me hard. It was like she was asking to borrow the car for the weekend. 18 years of marriage, and she was asking for permission to be unfaithful, treating it like a casual trial separation. "Jessica, listen to me closely. If you walk out that door tonight to meet another man, there is no coming back from this," I said, my voice firm despite the terrifying rage building up. "I'm warning you. This will change everything between us." She immediately stood up, grabbing her purse from the counter. "You are completely overreacting. I just need some space to figure out who the hell I am." I watched her walk away, and honestly, every single step she took felt like a knife twisting deeper. A huge, desperate part of me wanted to grab her, to shake her back to reality, but I was frozen solid, clutching the edge of the kitchen table until my knuckles were pure white. The door closed behind her with a final, sickening click, and the house fell into an awful silence, broken only by my own ragged breathing. That was the exact moment I knew the woman I married was gone forever, and the brutal, ugly battle for everything I had spent 2 decades building was just beginning. The night Jessica went on her date, I didn't sleep a wink. I just sat downstairs in the home office, staring blankly at the wall, trying desperately to process the absolute chaos that had just unfolded. Brandon came down around 10 o'clock, probably looking for a snack. "Dad, where's Mom?" he asked, leaning against the door frame. I struggled hard to keep my voice sounding normal. "She went out with some friends, son. She'll be back later." He nodded, but I saw the doubt in his eyes. At 16, he was smart enough to know something major was wrong. "Okay, good night, Dad." "Good night, son." As soon as he went back upstairs, I grabbed my laptop and did something I never thought I would do. I checked our joint bank account. The transactions I saw hit me like a fresh wave of nausea. A dinner at some fancy Italian place downtown, a designer clothing store, a visit to a luxury spa last Tuesday. She hadn't mentioned any of this to me. I clenched my jaw and kept scrolling. 3 months of charges, all small enough not to raise immediate suspicion, but together they painted a horrifyingly clear picture. She had been planning this exit. Around 2 in the morning, I finally heard the garage door open. Jessica walked in, the click of her heels echoing on the hardwood floors. She looked refreshed, even radiantly happy. That hurt me more than anything else. "You were still up?" she asked, setting her purse down on the counter. I got up from the couch, keeping a safe distance between us. "How was your date?" She just shrugged, completely avoiding my eyes. "It was fine." "Look, Ryan, I know you're upset, but this is honestly not about you." "Not about me?" My voice rose slightly despite my efforts to stay completely calm. Jessica, you are my wife. You are the mother of our children. Everything you do affects us. She finally turned to look at me, and her expression hardened into cold defensiveness. I'm tired of just being Ryan's wife. Or, worse, the kid's mom. I need to be myself. And who is this man you need to be yourself with? I asked, stepping closer. His name is Tyler, she said defiantly. He is a sales manager at work. He actually listens to me, Ryan. He makes me feel seen. Tyler. The ghost finally had a name. How long has this been going on? I asked quietly. She hesitated for just a moment. A few months. It started just as conversations, but a few months. The reality of the betrayal hit me like a physical blow. You have been lying to me for half a year. Jessica grabbed her purse and headed for the stairs, clearly done with the conversation. I'm not discussing this tonight. I'm exhausted. I watched her retreat, each step twisting the knife deeper. But when the bedroom door closed upstairs, something shifted inside me. The agonizing pain began to harden into something sharp and cold, determination. She wanted to play games, but she had severely underestimated exactly who she was playing against. The next morning, I made the first crucial decision. I called my brother, Cale. I need your help, I said the second he answered. Jessica is having an affair, and I need to know everything. The entire truth. Cale hesitated only briefly. I know a guy. The best private investigator in Phoenix. Let me make a call. After hanging up, I stared at the family photo on my desk. Jessica, me, Brandon, and Emma, all smiling on a beach trip 3 years ago. That version of us was completely gone. Now it was time to fight ruthlessly for what was left. On Friday morning, I met Cale at a coffee shop near my warehouse. He was already there when I arrived, slowly sipping a cup of black coffee. My older brother had always been the rock, the level-headed one, a successful electrical contractor who had weathered his own share of life's setbacks. You look like hell, Cale stated as I slid into the booth. I feel worse, I replied, immediately ordering a coffee from the waitress. Thanks for coming out, Cale. He leaned forward, his expression instantly serious. Tell me every single detail. I laid out the entire story, Jessica's announcement, the date, the suspicious bank statements. Tyler Brox, I added. With every detail, Cale's jaw tightened further. 18 years, he shook his head, disgusted. And she throws it all away for some kid from her office. I stirred my coffee slowly, the exhaustion weighing heavily on my shoulders. I need to know exactly what I'm up against, Cale. Is it just an emotional affair? Or has it gone much further? Cale pulled out his phone. I called Greg this morning. He's the best PI in the business. He's expensive, but worth every single penny. He did surveillance work for one of my clients going through a nightmare divorce. The guy is a bloodhound. He texted me Greg's number right then. Call him today. The sooner you know the full scope of what you're facing, the sooner you can protect the kids and yourself. And what about Jessica? I asked, a lingering part of me still wanting to fix the broken thing. Cale's expression hardened like steel. Ryan, listen to me closely. The woman you married would not have done this. Whatever Jessica has become, she is not thinking about you or those kids anymore. You need to accept that fact and start protecting what truly matters. His words cut deep because they were brutally true. Is there anything else I need to do? Cale continued. You need to see a lawyer immediately. Even if you're not ready to file, you need to know your options. Amanda Foster handled my friend's nasty custody case. She is tough as nails and takes absolutely no prisoners. I nodded, feeling the immense weight of reality settle on me. This wasn't just about a crumbling marriage anymore. This was about survival. One more critical thing, he said, lowering his voice conspiratorially. Do not let Jessica know what you are doing. No confrontations, no emotional threats. Quietly, surgically gather the evidence. Get your affairs in order, and when the time is right, hit her with everything at once. That sounds cold, I admitted. It is strategic, Cale corrected me flatly. She has already shown you who she is. Believe her. After breakfast, I sat in my truck and called Greg Whiter. He answered on the second ring. Greg Whiter. Mr. Whiter, my name is Ryan Mishi. My brother Cale gave me your number. I need your help, urgently. Tell me what's wrong, Greg said, his voice professional and steady, yet not unkind. I quickly explained the situation, Jessica's affair, Tyler Brox, and the critical need for irrefutable evidence. I can certainly help you, Greg confirmed. But I need every piece of information you have, phone numbers, addresses, work schedules. The more details you give me, the faster I can work. When can we meet? This afternoon at 2. I will text you my office address. As I drove back to the warehouse, a profound shift occurred inside me. The immense pain was still there, of course, but underneath it was something much harder, much sharper, a burning determination to protect my children and every single thing I had built. Jessica wanted to play games. She was about to find out that I did not play to lose. Greg Whiter's office was in a completely nondescript building downtown. Nothing flashy, just functional, which told me he invested his money in results, not appearances. The man himself was in his 50s, with short gray hair, wearing simple jeans and a polo shirt. Ex-military, I guessed, just from his posture. Ryan Mishi, he asked, extending a solid hand. That's me, I said, shaking it. His grip was firm and utterly confident. Take a seat, Greg invited, pointing to a chair. Kel speaks very highly of you. You're in a tough spot right now. I immediately handed him a thick folder. I had prepared printed bank statements, Jessica's work schedule, Tyler Brock's information I found on LinkedIn, and screenshots of suspicious charges. Greg carefully thumbed through the documents with an unreadable expression. After a few minutes, he looked up. Your wife is not being subtle at all, he noted. That's good for us. It makes my job easier. Do you want to know if this Tyler guy is the only one? The question hit me like a gut punch. Do you honestly think she could be seeing others? In my experience, Greg said bluntly, when someone is willing to throw away an 18-year marriage so casually, it's usually not their first time crossing that line. But we will find out. I will watch her. I will follow her movements. I will document everything. Photos, videos, everything you need. My stomach churned at the thought, but I simply nodded. How long do you need? Give me a week, maybe 2. If she were careful, it would be longer, but from what you're showing me, she's not trying very hard to hide anything. Greg leaned back in his chair, his expression serious. I have to ask, Ryan, are you truly prepared for what I might find? I thought of Brandon and Emma, of the beautiful house we had built, of 18 years of memories that now felt completely poisoned. I need to know the truth, I said firmly, my voice steadying. Whatever the truth is, I need it. Greg pulled out his standard contract. My retainer is $5,000. I charge $200 an hour plus expenses. Everything I find is admissible in court, professionally documented. You will receive a full report. I didn't hesitate for a second. I wrote the check immediately. This was no longer about money. It was about protecting my future. One more thing, Greg said as I got up to leave. Do not change your behavior with your wife at all. Act completely normal. Do not let on that you suspect anything beyond what she's already admitted. If she thinks you are investigating her, she will become very discreet, and my job will get exponentially harder. Understood, I confirmed. That afternoon, I came home to find Jessica cooking dinner, behaving as if absolutely nothing had happened. Emma was setting the table, happily chattering about her day at school. Hi, Daddy, Emma said, running to hug me. I hugged her back hard, fighting with everything I had to keep my voice steady. Hi, sweetie. How was school? Good. We are learning all about the solar system. Jessica looked over from the stove. Dinner is almost ready, she announced. I met her eyes, seeing a stranger looking back at me, but I smiled and nodded. It smells great, I lied smoothly. We sat down at the table as a family unit. Brandon was quiet as usual, and Emma talked nonstop about the planets. Jessica acted like nothing was wrong, as if she hadn't just detonated our entire life. I played along perfectly, asking questions and laughing at Emma's innocent jokes. But inside, I was silently counting the minutes until Greg Whiter gave me the ammunition I needed. Because when the time came, Jessica was going to learn exactly what happens when you betray a man who gave you everything. 10 agonizing days later, Greg Whiter called. We need to meet. I have exactly what you asked for. My stomach tightened into a painful knot. A tiny, foolish part of me hoped he hadn't found anything, that Jessica's date had been a one-time lapse, but Greg's professional, grim tone told me otherwise. I met him at his office that afternoon. A thick folder sat waiting on his desk, and his expression was dead serious. Before I show you this, Ryan, Greg said, I want to make sure you are truly ready. What's in here is going to hurt. I took a deep, shaky breath. Show me. He opened the folder. The first photograph showed Jessica and Tyler Brox entering a hotel in Tempe. The timestamp read, 3 days ago, 2:17 p.m. My hands trembled as I flipped to the next image. Them at a restaurant. Jessica laughing freely, her hand intimately on his arm. Another photo captured them kissing passionately in a parking lot. There is more, Greg continued quietly. This is not new. I checked some records. This has been going on for at least 6 months, maybe longer. 6 months, half a year of lies. I found something else too. Greg pulled out another document, financial records. Jessica has been secretly transferring money from your joint account to a separate account. About $40,000 over the last 4 months. The betrayal hit me with a vicious, physical force. She wasn't just having an affair. She was robbing me blind, planning her exit strategy while I worked 60 hours a week to support her family. There is one more thing you should know, Greg added, his voice low and careful. This Tyler Brox guy is 31, single, works in sales at her company. But here's the interesting part. He has been asking her repeatedly for information about your business contacts. I think he's been trying to leverage your network to get contracts. My vision blurred with pure, incandescent rage. He is using her, I seethed. It certainly looks that way. I did some digging. He's ambitious, not exactly known for his ethics. Your wife might genuinely believe this is some great love story, but to him, she's just a means to an end. I slammed the folder shut, my hands shaking uncontrollably. And the affair itself, physical proof. Greg hesitated. Hotel records show they have checked in together 7 times in the last 2 months. I have photos of them going in and out. I can't photograph what happens inside, but the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. I stood up abruptly. I needed to move, to contain the explosive fury building inside me. All this time, I whispered, my voice rough and hoarse. She's been playing the victim, acting like I was the problem. People will always justify their actions, Greg said simply, but the facts don't lie. You have everything you need for court: infidelity, financial misconduct, clear premeditation. Your lawyer is going to have a field day with this information. I took the folder. It felt sickeningly heavy. Thanks, Greg. Ryan, he called as I reached the door. One last piece of advice. Do not confront her yet. Take this straight to your lawyer first. Let her build your case. Emotion makes people stupid, and you need to be smart right now. I nodded, fighting every primal instinct that told me to drive home and throw those photos in Jessica's face. Instead, I sat in my truck in a quiet parking lot and called Amanda Foster. Amanda speaking. Miss Foster, my name is Ryan Mishi. I need to file for divorce. Amanda Foster's law firm was located in North Scottsdale. All glass and cold steel, professional and intimidating. It was exactly the atmosphere I needed. The woman herself was in her 50s, impeccably dressed in a sharp navy suit, her salt and pepper hair pulled back neatly. Mr. Mishi, she said, shaking my hand with a firm, confident grip. Cale spoke very highly of you. Have a seat. I sat across her desk and slid Greg's folder toward her. This is what I'm dealing with, I stated simply. Amanda opened it. Her expression remained completely neutral as she methodically reviewed the photos, the financial records, and the surveillance reports. After several minutes, she looked up at me. Your wife's lawyer is going to have a very bad day, she said with a hint of satisfaction. This is irrefutable. Infidelity, financial misconduct, and if you are interested in pursuing that route, I can easily argue a strong case for fraud. What about my kids? I asked, my priority clear. Brandon is 16. Emma is 11. I want primary custody. Amanda nodded, making notes. With this evidence, you have an exceptionally strong case. Your wife's behavior demonstrates poor judgment and a clear disregard for the family's well-being. We will file for temporary custody immediately, along with an injunction preventing her from accessing joint accounts or making any major financial decisions. How long will this take if she contests? I needed a timeline. It could take 6 months to a year. But given what you have shown me, I don't think she will have much of an argument left to make. Amanda leaned back. Here's the plan. We will file this week. The sheriff will serve her with the papers, probably at her office. It will be public. It will be humiliating, and that is absolutely the point. We want her to understand immediately that she is no longer in control of this situation. Good, I muttered, my jaw clenching. There is one thing you need to be prepared for, Amanda continued, her tone serious. She is going to lash out hard. Women like your wife, when they realize they've been caught, get desperate. She will try to paint you as the villain, abusive, controlling, whatever narrative she thinks will work. You must document everything from now on. Every conversation, every text, every interaction. Do you understand? Do you have a safe place for the kids to stay for a few days after she gets served? I thought of Cale's house. They can stay there if needed. Good. Amanda stood up, extending her hand. I will have the papers ready by tomorrow. You are doing the right thing, Ryan. Your children are lucky to have a father willing to fight for their stability. Leaving her office, I felt a fragile emotion I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Not for my marriage. That was dead. But hope that I could salvage something from the wreckage. Hope that Brandon and Emma would be okay. That evening, I sat down with Brandon in my office. At 16, he deserved to know the difficult truth that was coming. Dad, what is going on? He asked, sensing the profound gravity of the moment. I took a deep breath. Your mother and I are getting a divorce. I'm filing the papers this week. His face instantly paled. It's because of her date, isn't it? So he knew more than I thought. Yes, buddy. Because of that, and a lot of other poor decisions. I'm fighting for custody of you and Emma. I need you to trust me implicitly. I'm doing this to protect you both. Brandon was silent for a long, anxious moment. Then he looked up at me. Dad, I want to stay with you. Whatever happens, I want to stay with you. Those words utterly broke something inside me, but I held it together for him. I'm going to make sure that happens, son. After he left, I stared at the family photo on my desk one last time. It was the final remnant of a life that no longer existed. Tomorrow, the war would begin in earnest. And this time, I was completely ready. The sheriff served Jessica with the papers at her work on a Thursday afternoon. I wasn't there to witness it, but Cale's friend who worked in the same building told me she came out of her office paper white, clutching the large envelope like it was going to explode. She stormed through the front door at 6 o'clock, the crumpled papers in her hand, her face contorted with cold fury. What the hell is this, Ryan? Jessica screamed, throwing the divorce papers onto the kitchen counter where I was helping Emma with her homework. Emma, go to your room, sweetie, I said calmly, my eyes locked on Jessica. My daughter looked between us, fear wide in her eyes, but she quietly obeyed. Once she was safely upstairs, I turned back to Jessica. It is exactly what it says. I'm filing for divorce and primary custody. You can't do this. Her voice rose to a shriek of disbelief. You can't take my children from me. I'm not taking them, I said, my voice ice cold and even. You abandoned them when you decided Tyler Brox was more important than your family. Jessica's face flushed crimson. This is all about control. You have always been a controller, Ryan. Always needing to know where I am, what I'm doing. I took out my phone and calmly opened the folder of photographs Greg had provided. No, this is about the 18 years of marriage you threw away for a 31-year-old man who was using you for business contacts. Did you genuinely think Tyler cared about you, or did you just not care that he was exploiting you? Her eyes widened in horror as she finally saw the photos. You had me followed. You invaded my privacy, she stammered. You stole $40,000 from our joint account. I countered, my voice hardening to granite. You have been living a lie for 6 months. You have absolutely no right to talk to me about privacy. Jessica grabbed onto the counter, her manufactured defiance instantly crumbling. Ryan, please, we can fix this. I made a huge mistake, but we can get through this. No, I said firmly, giving her no space to maneuver. You are not going to play the victim now. You made your decision. Now you have to live with the consequences. She tried a different approach. Her voice softened dramatically. Think about the children, Ryan. Brandon and Emma need their mother. Don't do this to them. I am thinking about the children, I replied. And that is why I'm ensuring they have a stable parent. You can have supervised visits. The court will decide the rest. Jessica's expression shifted to something genuinely ugly, pure hatred. You are going to regret this. I will tell everyone what you have done. I will make sure everyone knows what kind of controlling man you really are. Go ahead, I said, meeting her enraged gaze head on. I have 18 years of being a good husband and father. You have 6 months of hotel receipts and blatant lies. Let's see who people believe. She grabbed her purse and stormed towards the door. Then she spun back around one last time. This is not over, Ryan. Yes, it is, I finished. After she left, Brandon slowly came downstairs. He had clearly been listening to the whole thing. Dad, are we going to be okay? He asked quietly. I put my arm around his shoulders and pulled him close. Yes, son. We are going to be okay. We are going to be more than okay. 2 days after Jessica was served, she exploded on Facebook. I woke up Saturday morning to dozens of notifications. Friends, colleagues, and even clients were messaging me about her post. I opened the app, and my stomach churned with disgust. After 18 years of marriage, I have finally found the courage to speak my truth, Jessica had written. I have endured years of emotional manipulation and control. My husband has isolated me from my friends, monitored my every move, and made me feel like I was losing my mind. I stayed for my children, but I can't anymore. To anyone in a similar situation, you are not alone. Speak your truth, survival story. The post already had over 200 reactions and dozens of comments, mostly from her friends offering support, but a few voices were already questioning her narrative. My phone rang instantly. It was Kale. Have you seen this absolute garbage? My brother demanded. Ryan, you have to respond. She is destroying your reputation right now. I remembered Amanda's instructions not to engage. Let her dig her own grave, Kale, I said, though my hands were shaking with fury. Just screenshot everything. This is libel and defamation. Your lawyer can use every word. I spent the next hour meticulously documenting Jessica's post and every comment. Then something totally unexpected happened. A comment appeared from Rachel Coleman, one of Jessica's oldest friends. Jess, I love you, but this just doesn't add up. Ryan has been nothing but supportive of you. Maybe you should handle this privately. Within minutes, Rachel's comment was deleted, and Jessica had blocked her. Moments later, my phone rang again. It was Rachel. Ryan, I am so incredibly sorry, she said immediately. I didn't want to get involved, but I absolutely cannot stay silent. Jessica has been bragging about Tyler for months. She told me you were boring, that she deserved better. This victim act is complete nonsense. I held my breath. Would you be willing to testify to that, Rachel? I asked. Rachel hesitated for a beat, then said firmly, yes. She is lying, and your kids don't deserve this public smear campaign. Thank you, Rachel, I said, relief washing over me. I immediately forwarded all the screenshots and Rachel's contact info to Amanda, who called within the hour. This is gold, Amanda said, satisfaction evident in her voice. She is committing libel in real time. We will add it all to the lawsuit. And Rachel's testimony is going to absolutely destroy Jessica's credibility on the stand. For the first time in weeks, I allowed myself to feel something like profound relief. The courtroom was packed on the day of the final hearing. Jessica sat at the defendant's table with her lawyer, a young guy who looked completely overwhelmed and miserable. Amanda sat beside me, her folder thick with evidence, her expression utterly confident. The judge, a formidable woman in her 60s named Ellen Rodriguez, reviewed the case file as we waited. Finally, she looked up over her glasses. This court will hear testimony on the matter of custody and division of assets in the matter of Mishi versus Mishi, Judge Rodriguez announced. Miss Foster, you may begin, the judge said. Amanda stood up immediately, commanding the entire room. Your Honor, this case is fundamentally straightforward. Mr. Mishi has been a devoted father and husband for 18 years. The evidence will show that Mrs. Mishi carried on a prolonged extramarital affair, committed financial fraud by illegally stealing $40,000 from the joint accounts, and demonstrated a pattern of profound deceit that makes her unfit for primary custody. She presented Greg's photographs, the detailed financial records, and Rachel Coleman's affidavit. Then Victoria Brox took the stand. Mrs. Brox, how do you know the defendant? Amanda asked. Jessica Mishi is having an affair with my ex-husband, Tyler, Victoria said clearly and calmly. Tyler has a proven pattern of targeting married women in corporate settings. He uses them for their husband's business contacts and then discards them. I have proof that he has been specifically asking Mrs. Mishi about her husband's automotive contacts to benefit his own career. Jessica's hapless lawyer tried weakly to object, but Judge Rodriguez overruled him immediately. Continue, Miss Foster. Rachel testified next, vividly describing how Jessica had bragged about the affair and shown absolutely zero remorse. Then, heartbreakingly, Brandon took the stand. Brandon, how has your mother's recent behavior affected you? Amanda asked gently. My son's voice was remarkably steady, incredibly mature for his 16 years. She just stopped being present. She was always on her phone, always going out. My dad has been the one helping with homework, cooking dinner, making sure Emma and I were okay. I want to live with him. I watched Jessica's face finally crumble as her own son spoke those words, but I felt no satisfaction, only a deep, aching sadness for what she had callously destroyed. Jessica's lawyer attempted to weakly paint her as a victim of a controlling husband, but it was futile. When Jessica took the stand, Amanda destroyed her credibility with surgical precision. Mrs. Mishi, you stated in your social media post that your husband was controlling, yet you had free access to all the bank accounts, correct? Yes, but, and you used that free access to steal $40,000 over 4 months from those accounts, correct? Jessica's face flushed a painful red. I was not stealing, she shrieked. I was protecting myself. Protecting yourself by secretly funding an extramarital affair. Amanda's voice was sharp, a perfectly aimed arrow. No further questions, Your Honor. Judge Rodriguez took a short recess, then returned with her decision. I have thoroughly reviewed all the evidence, she announced. Mrs. Mishi's actions demonstrate a profound lack of judgment and a blatant disregard for the well-being of her children. Mr. Mishi is hereby granted primary physical custody of both minor children. Mrs. Mishi will have supervised visits every other weekend, to be reviewed in 9 months. Furthermore, Mrs. Mishi is ordered to immediately return the $40,000 she withdrew without consent, plus court costs, and a significant portion of Mr. Mishi's legal fees. The judge's gavel sounded a sharp thud, and just like that, it was all over. Jessica sat completely frozen, her lawyer urgently whispering in her ear. I stood up, shook Amanda's hand, and walked out of that courtroom with my head held high and my dignity intact. Outside, Brandon and Emma were waiting with Kale. Emma ran to me immediately, and I scooped her up into my arms. Is it really over, Daddy? She whispered. Yes, sweetie. It is finally over. We are going home. 8 months after the divorce was finalized, life had found a beautiful, easy rhythm again. Brandon was absolutely thriving in his junior year, even seriously talking about college applications. Emma had joined the local soccer team and was making wonderful new friends. The new house felt lighter, as if all 3 of us could finally breathe clean air. I had wisely sold the big Scottsdale house, too many haunting memories, and bought a smaller, more manageable one in North Phoenix with a big backyard. The kids helped me pick it out, and it felt like ours in a way the old house never truly did. The automotive business was doing better than ever. It turns out when you aren't emotionally wrecked by your spouse's betrayal, you can actually focus on work. I had landed 2 major new contracts and hired 3 new employees. Jessica's supervised visits were awkward at first. She would show up looking diminished, quiet, and subdued in a way she had never been before. Tyler had predictably left her just 2 months after the divorce was finalized, exactly as Victoria had warned. Apparently, once Jessica lost access to my business contacts, he no longer had any use for her. One Saturday afternoon, Jessica asked if she could speak with me privately after dropping Emma off. What is it? I asked, keeping my tone completely neutral. I wanted to say I'm sorry, Jessica said, her eyes red and genuine this time. For everything. I destroyed our family because I was selfish and incredibly stupid. I don't expect you to ever forgive me, but I wanted you to know that I regret all of it. I studied her for a long, quiet moment. The incandescent anger that had sustained me through the worst of it was finally gone, replaced by something closer to simple pity. I appreciate you saying that, I said finally, but it doesn't change anything, Jessica. You made choices, and we all have to live with those consequences. I know, she whispered sadly. Can I ask one thing? Can I spend more time with the kids? I genuinely want to rebuild that relationship. I thought about Brandon and Emma, about their fundamental right to a relationship with their mother. If you are truly willing to put in the work, if you can prove to the court that you are stable, at work, in therapy, and there are no more Tylers or anyone like him, then we could talk about modifying the custody agreement down the road. But right now, it is entirely up to you to earn it. Jessica nodded, tears streaming silently down her face. Thank you, Ryan. I will do better. I promise. As she drove away, I felt something completely unexpected. Hope. Not hope for us, but hope that she could become someone our children could eventually respect again. That night, I barbecued in the backyard while Brandon threw a ball with Emma. Kel came by with cold beers and his famous potato salad. You look genuinely happy, my brother observed, handing me a cold one. I am, I replied, watching my kids laugh without a care in the world. It took a hell of a lot to get here, but yes, I'm happy. You did good, little brother. You protected those kids, and you kept your dignity. That is what truly matters. Later, after everyone had gone to bed, I stood on the back porch looking up at the stars. 18 years of my life had been built on a foundation that turned out to be sand. But from the wreckage, I had built something infinitely stronger. A home where my children felt safe, where honesty mattered, where we didn't have to walk on eggshells. Jessica had tried to destroy me, but she had failed because I learned something essential through it all. Strength is not about never falling. It is about getting up, dusting yourself off, and fighting like hell for what matters. And that is exactly what I had done. Given the stunning collapse of Jessica's attempt to start a new life, and the fact that she lost everything while Ryan maintained his stability, what do you think was the single biggest miscalculation Jessica made when she walked out that door? In your opinion, was Ryan's decision to use a private investigator and the legal system to utterly destroy Jessica's position a necessary act of self-defense for his children, or was it an act of justified but excessive revenge? Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Share your thoughts about this story in the comments.